So you can sit on your pillow or your blanket. You can have your ankles crossed. This is easy seat, Sukhasana, or place one foot in front of the other for Siddhasana or Sage's pose. And then resting your hands on your thighs, lean forward and rock a little side to side. See if you can kind of start to scoot your hips back behind you. So when you shift back, your sitting bones plug into the floor. And you might close down your eyes or soften your gaze. Just take a deep breath in through your nose, fill your lungs, and let your belly expand. And then exhale out through your mouth, let out a sigh. Feel that again. Inhale through your nose, shoulders relax, belly inflate. And exhale out through your mouth. Once more on your own, breathing in through your nose and out of your mouth with sound. And now see if you can continue to make that sound, that sighing sound, while breathing in and out through just your nose. This is called the ocean sounding breath, Ujjayi breath. You have to kind of engage the base of your throat, and you will then be able to hear your breath, to feel your breath. It makes kind of the sound of the ocean, like when you hold a shell up to your ear. And we sometimes practice this ocean sounding breath in the beginning of our practice or throughout while we're moving to bring us into an awareness of the breath. And so you're welcome to let that breath go or continue it if you like. Please blink your eyes open if they are closed. We're going to do just a little bit of syncing our breath with our movement, just moving through our arms. Okay. So release your arms at your side. Plug your fingertips into the floor next to your hips. Sit up a little taller. You might wriggle some more length into your spine. Complete your exhale. Let your weight drop down into your hips. And then as you inhale, sweep your arms out and up and overhead. You might connect your palms at the top. As you exhale, stretch through your fingers, lower your arms back down. So just simple movement with your breath. Inhale to lift your arms. And exhale to lower your arms back down at your side. On your own, wait for your inhale to lift the arms up. And wait for your exhale to start to lower your arms down. So this next time, as you lift your arms, connect your palms and lower your hands down through the center line of your body. You can pause with your hands at your heart or hands again resting on your thighs. It's coming back to this initial intention that we set for this practice to explore the concept of embodiment, to practice presence, curiosity of what it is to be alive and in this body on this earth. And if your eyes are closed, please blink them open. And we'll transition to hands and knees into a tabletop pose. So you can set any cushions you have aside and come into a tabletop with your wrists under your shoulders and your knees under your hips. Spread your fingers wide. Plug into each fingertip And we'll take a simple cat's breath. So start by lifting your tailbone and your gaze and look forward. And take an inhale. And as you exhale, reverse, press into your hands, drop your head, drop your tailbone, stretch your back. And continue like that. Inhale, look forward, roll your shoulders back, open up. And exhale to round and stretch out your back. On your own, inhale, open. And exhale, round and stretch. Good. Once more like that, just following your breath. Simple movement, just getting used to linking your breath with your movement. Good. And now come into a neutral spine. Separate your knees a little wider, touch your big toes together, and rest your hips towards your heels. Lower your forehead down, child's pose. You can also stack your hands under your forehead if that's more comfortable for you. You might shift your hips a little side to side, see if you can wriggle a little more length into your spine. So we focus a lot on lengthening our spine in yoga. That helps to create more space for a deeper breath. And so this pose, child's pose, you can return to at any point in the yoga practice where you need to rest. Some people might be more comfortable seated on their heels in Vajrasana, thunderbolt pose. But it's nice to start to identify a home base type of posture that you can take when maybe you need to catch your breath, maybe you're feeling overwhelmed or tired, or you just need some stillness. So child's pose is an option for that. Complete your exhale. And inhale, shift forward to your hands and your knees. Stack your knees again under your hips, wrists under your shoulders. Tuck your toes. And we're going to set up for downward facing dog, another foundational posture. So start to lift your knees, send your hips up and back. Keep your knees bent here at first. And press into your hands so much that you reaching your hips up and back and your chest towards your thighs. Getting a little bit of an opening in the upper back. And now for downward dog, you can stay here or start to straighten your legs and drop your heels down. So this is a pose where if you're not used to it, it can feel pretty intense in the wrists. The more you bend your knees, the more you can take some of the weight into your feet and out of your wrists. And if it's still too much, you can always lower your knees down and be in tabletop as a downward dog alternative. And so from your downward dog, look forward and start to take steps towards the front of your mat. Coming into a forward fold, bend your knees as much as you need to touch the floor. If you have yoga blocks, you can also prop your hands up onto your blocks. And now take an inhale, lift up halfway, look forward, bring your hands to the fronts of your legs and lengthen your spine. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, start to fold, drop your head, relax your neck. Feel that again. Inhale to lengthen, look forward. And exhale to fold. Once more, inhale. It's creating length through your back, exhale, fold. Good, now bend your knees if they're not. Bring your hands to your hips and your elbows high and come up to standing with a flat back. Mountain pose. So for mountain pose, have your feet directly under your hips. Feet are parallel. And you can rock your weight forward and back, kind of lifting and spreading your toes and just waking up your feet. Your arms, if you're not pulling your hair back, can be resting at your sides. Good. And once you feel a connection to your feet, we'll move with the breath, just like we did seated. Okay? So as you inhale, stretch your arms out and up and overhead. Stand tall. Exhale, stretch your arms out to the sides and lower them back down. Good. Just twice more simple movement with your breath. Inhale, arms back. And exhale, lower your arms. Once more like that. Preparing for a classical sun salutation. Meet at the front of your mat if you're not. Okay, so this is a foundational warm-up flow. Inhale, lift your arms. And as you exhale, bend your knees a little, take your arms to the sides and swan dive forward. Come into a forward bend. Release your arms down, drop your head. Take an inhale, lift halfway. Shift your weight into your left foot and stretch your right leg long behind you until you land in a lunge. You can set your back knee down. See that your front knee is directly over your ankle and that your toes are facing forward. And now tuck your back toes. If they're not, lift your knee. And we'll feel cat spread in the lunge. So take an inhale, round your back, drop your head. And as you exhale, look forward, reach through your back heel. 2 more breaths like that. Inhale, round. And exhale, stretch. So this is another pose where it could be nice if you had blocks to prop your hands up. Not just do it, you can. And then we'll step back, downward facing dog. See again that your hands are shoulder distance. Spread your fingers, feet are hips distance. As you inhale, start to round forward, come into a plank pose. Shoulders directly over your wrists. Lower your knees, half plank. See how this is a little different than tabletop, right? Tabletop, my hips are directly over my knees. Half plank, my hips are a little more forward. So inhale, press into your hands, and as you exhale, start to lower down slowly. Bend your elbows, hug your elbows towards your ribs as you lower all the way down to your belly. And then untuck your toes. As you inhale, lift your chest just a little bit for a baby cobra pose. Maybe lift your hands for a moment to strengthen your lower back. Hug your elbows in, lower your hands back down. Inhale, lift up a little higher, cobra pose. So oftentimes I see folks shrugging their shoulders towards their ears. So if you can glide your shoulders away from your ears, lengthen the sides of your neck. Complete your exhale. And then inhale, lift up a little higher. Shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, lower. Tuck your toes, press back. Active child's pose, hips towards your heels. Stretch out your back, your hips, the soles of your feet. And then shift forward to hands and knees and into downward facing dog. From your downward dog, take an inhale, lift your right leg. Press into your hands, stretch through your toes. And as you exhale, look forward, pull your knee to your nose, and step forward, lunge. Set your back knee down. And so remember, we want front knee over the ankle. If you didn't quite make it there, you can take right hand to ankle and bump your foot forward. And now tuck your back toes. If they're not, lift your knee, cat spread. Inhale, round your back, drop your head. And as you exhale, look forward and reach through your back heel. 2 more breaths like that. Inhale, round. And exhale, stretch. Good, once more. And now looking forward, you can bend your back knee a little to spring to the top of your mat, standing forward folds. Inhale, lift part way. Exhale, fold in. Drop your head, relax your neck. Soften your knees so you can rise to standing with a flat back all the way up, arms to the sides, up and overhead. Connect your palms. And exhale, lower your hands through the center, either resting at your heart or arms at your sides. Okay, so we're going to flow through that on the other side. A little faster this time. Inhale, lift your arms. Exhale, fold forward. Lead with your sternum, hinge at your hips. Long, flat back. Inhale, halfway lift. Shift your weight into your right foot. Stretch your left leg long behind you and softly land in a lunge. Lower your back knee down, drop your hips, look forward, glide your shoulders back. And now lift your back knee, step back, downward facing dog. Take an inhale, round forward plank pose. And this time either lower your knees down or keep them lifted, full plank. Inhale. And exhale, start to lower through chaturanga pose, through a push-up, bending your elbows, hugging them into your ribs, and lowering all the way to your belly. Untuck your toes. Roll your shoulders back, either cobra as you lift up, or the deeper back bend is upward dog. You would press into your hands so much that your hips lift and your elbows straighten. Just on the tops of your feet and the palms of your hands. Inhale. And exhale. Lower your knees if they're lifted. Tuck your toes. Press back, active child's pose. And shift forward, hands and knees to downward facing dog. Take an inhale, lift your left leg. Press evenly into your hands, stretch through your toes. And as you exhale, pony to nose, look forward, step forward, low lunge. Set your back knee down for a moment. Look forward, glide your shoulders back, inhale. Lift your back knee. Bend your back knee a little to spring forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way to standing, flat back, arms lift. And exhale, lower your hands through your heart and eventually down to your sides, mountain pose. And take a breath. So bring your feet together so that your big toes touch and your heels are slightly apart. Setting up for chair pose. Bend your knees, sweep your arms forward and up, like you're sitting on the edge of a chair. As you exhale, sweep your hands back towards your hips. And now flowing with your breath. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, lower your hands, keep your chest lifted. Feeling that once more, moving with your breath. Good. This time, as you inhale, straighten your legs, lift your arms. And exhale, bend your knees, lower all the way to your seat and onto your back. And hug your knees to your chest, rock a little side to side. So we're going to do just a little bit to activate our core strength. Lower your feet to the mat with your knees bent. So take your arms overhead. Make sure your feet are hip distance apart. Inhale. And as you exhale, reach forward and come up to your seat. Stretch through your fingertips. Take an inhale. As you exhale, lower slowly your lower back, middle back. Keep your shoulders off the mat. Inhale here. Exhale, lift. Inhale, stretch through your fingertips. Exhale, lower, part way down. Take an inhale. Exhale, lift. Inhale, reach. Exhale to lower part way down. Just moving with your breath. Inhale, shoulders stay lifted. Exhale, lift all the way. Inhale, spinal extension. Exhale, lower. Just 2 more of these. Inhale. Exhale, lift up. Inhale. Exhale, lower part way. Inhale. Good. Exhale, lower all the way down to your back. And release your hands behind your head. You might walk your feet a little closer. Take an inhale and exhale, lift just your tailbone and your shoulders. Inhale to lower. Exhale to lift. You can stay with that, or if you want it to be a little more challenging, straighten your legs, toes towards the sky. Inhale on your back. And exhale, lift your tailbone and your shoulders. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale. So it's subtle movement. Just your tailbone lifts, your heels stay right over your hips. Just 2 more like that. Good. Last one, lower down. Hug your knees to your chest, rock a little side to side to stretch out your back. You can stay with this knees to chest pose or take happy baby. Bend your knees towards your armpits. Take your hands to the soles of your feet. So you're bending your knees to the sides, soles of your feet face skywards. Opening your hips and your back. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And exhale through your nose. Hug your knees back into your chest if they're not. Hold the backs of your thighs and rock forward and back. If this doesn't feel good on your back, you can find another way up to standing. You're going to use the momentum and a deep inhale to plant your feet, lift all the way up. Exhale, lower your hands through the center. Make sure you are standing at the front of your mat. We're going to play with some basic standing poses, learning those foundational foot patterns I was telling you about. So bring your feet together if they're not. Bend your knees, sweep your hands forward and up, chair pose. Inhale. Exhale, lower your hands down by your sides. Now inhale, standing balance, lift your arms, lift your left knee. Good. From here, we're going to stretch your left leg way back behind you and step out to the side. You can bring your hands to your hips. Okay. So you have your right toes facing the front of your mat, and your left toes are turned ever so slightly towards the front of your mat. And your hips are facing the long side of your mat. So this is foot pattern 2. We're starting with foot pattern 2. Don't worry, we'll get to foot pattern 1. It's just a little trickier. Okay. So this turns into a lot of different poses. We're going to turn it into warrior 2 by bending your right knee. Your knee should stack directly over your heel. Take your arms out to the sides, warrior 2 pose. Now we're going to move with the breath. As you inhale, lift your arms, straighten your right leg. And exhale, arms to the sides, bend your knee. Continue like that. Inhale, arms lift. And exhale, arms open. Good. Once more. Good. This time, gaze over your right fingertips. Warrior 2. Take a breath. Inhale deeply. And as you exhale, cartwheel your hands to frame your right foot. Come back into a lunge. Pop your left heel up. Set your back knee down. And straighten your front leg, half splits. So this is another pose where blocks can come in handy if your hamstrings are tight. Prop your hands up on blocks. Or you can just have a little bend or a generous bend in your right knee. So take an inhale, lift part way, lengthen your spine. And exhale, keep all of that length as you fold. Each inhale creates a little more length. Each exhale, a release. Good. And now bend your front knee. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Shift your weight back slightly and spring to the top of your mat. Standing forward fold. Bring your feet together. Inhale, partway lift. And exhale, fold. Bend your knees, chair pose, lift your arms. Inhale. Exhale, arms down at your sides. Other side. Inhale, lift your arms. Lift your right knee this time. And now step your right foot as far back as you can. Come into a wide stance, hands to your hips. So your left toes are still facing forward. Your right toes are turned ever so slightly forward, and your hips are facing the long side of your mat. Bend your left knee, stack your ankle under your knee. Take your arms to the sides, warrior two. And now moving with your breath. Inhale, arms rise, straighten your front leg. Exhale, arms open, left knee bends. With your breath, inhale, arms rise. And exhale, arms open wide. Good, once more. Exhale. Pause in warrior two. Look over your left fingertips. Left knee is bent, right leg is straight. Take one more inhale. And exhale, cartwheel your hands down to frame your left foot. Pop your back heel up and set your back knee down, setting up for half splits. Straighten your left leg a little or a lot, or prop your hands up on something if you need more space. I tend to tent onto my fingertips to make that space. It just gives you a little more room than palms of the hands down. Take an inhale, lift halfway, glide your left hip back, and exhale to fold. A couple of breaths here. Each inhale, creating some length. Each exhale, a release. And now bend your front knee. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Shift your weight back a little to spring forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, lift part way. And exhale, fold. Okay. Bend your knees, lift your arms, chair pose. Inhale. Exhale, hands down by your sides. Inhale, stand, lift your left knee. Yeah, this time, keep your knee lifted. Bring your hands to your hips. Your hips are facing the short edge of your mat now. We're going to keep it that way as you step way back for foot pattern one. So you can land with your back heel lifted. This is the beginner's version. Or you can spin your back heel down with your toes facing maybe like 40 degrees angle forward. So your hips are still square. So glide your right hip back and your left hip forward. Bend your front knee, straighten your back leg. This is warrior one. Remember, you can always have your back heel lifted if that's better for you. Lift your arms. As you exhale, lower your arms down by your sides. Inhale, lift your arms, straighten your front leg. Exhale, bend your knee, lower your arms. Moving with your breath. Inhale, arms lift. Once more. This time with your knee bent, keep your knee bent, lift your arms. Warrior one pose, option to connect your palms overhead. Inhale deeply. And exhale, lower your hands inside of your front foot. Pick up your back heel if it's not. And turn to face the long side of your mat for a wide-legged forward fold. So turn your toes to face the long side of your mat. Feet are parallel. Knees can be a little bent or a lot of bent. Take an inhale, lift part way, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Again, inhale to lengthen. Exhale, fold. So this is the third foot pattern. This Prasarita Padottanasana foot pattern where it's a wide-legged forward fold with your feet parallel. Come up part way, soften your knees, bring hands to hips, rise up to standing. Okay, now we're gonna set up for temple pose. Turn your heels in, toes out, bend your knees, squat down. So the toes are turning out to the sides, knees tracking over the toes. You can rest your hands on your thighs. Inhale, lift up slightly. Exhale, deepen the bend of your knees. Feel that twice more. Moving with your breath. Good. Keeping the bend of your knees. Inhale, straighten your legs. Turn your right toes to face forward. Cartwheel your hands down. Come into a lunge. Lower your left knee down. Straighten your front leg, your right leg. Coming back to half split. So we do this pose a lot after the standing poses to create balance in the body. So we call it a counter pose, Pratyakriyasana. After all of the strength building in the legs, we'll stretch out the hamstrings. And now bend your front knee. Place your hands inside of your front foot, lizard pose. You can heel toe your foot over to the right. Drop your hips, lift your chest. Stretch your left leg long behind you. Reach back through all 5 toes on the left side. Good. Tuck your back toes, lift your knee. You can tent onto your fingertips. Bend your back knee a little to spring forward. Come into a wider forward fold with your feet as wide as your mat, feet parallel. Inhale, lift part way. And exhale, fold. Drop your head, relax your neck. Heel toe your feet together to touch, setting up for chair pose and that little flow on the other side. Bend your knees, lift your arms. Inhale. Exhale, lower your arms by your sides. Inhale, stand, lift your right knee. Okay, keep your right knee lifted. Bring your hands to your hips. Keep your hips square towards the short edge of your mat as you step way back with your right foot and land in a lunge. So make sure you're not on a tightrope for these foot pattern 1 poses, meaning your feet are more like on train tracks. So you might widen your front foot to the side. Remember, you can spin your back heel down if you'd like. It's definitely more of a stretch in your calf and your right thigh. Lift your arms, straighten your front leg. Remember, glide your left hip back, reach up through your fingertips, inhale. Exhale, lower your hands, bend your knee. Moving with your breath. Inhale, arms rise, leg straightens. Exhale, bend your knee, lower your arms. Once more. And now with your knee bent, lift your arms high. Warrior 1, option to connect your palms, option to have your back heel lifted. Take an inhale. And exhale, lower your hands inside of your left foot. Turn to face the long side of your mat. I'm just going to swivel around so you can see. Turn your toes out to the sides like the temple pose foot pattern 4. And now start to bend your left knee, come into half temple pose or side lunge, Skandasana. So your left knee tracks over your left toes. You can stay high or start to lower your hips and pick up your right toes for a much deeper stretch in your hamstring. And if you have any knee things going on, keep your hips a little higher. We're going to change anyway, so look to the right. Inhale, lift your hips. Walk your hands towards your right foot and bend your right knee. Remember, you can stay high in that half temple pose or start to drop your hips, pick up your left toes. We're just going to flow one more time, side to side. So inhale, lift your hips. Exhale, bend your right knee or left knee. Inhale, lift your hips. And exhale, bend your right knee. Inhale, come up through the center and turn over your left leg, forward facing lunge. Lower your right knee down. Straighten your left leg, half splits. So we are here on the other side. Inhale to lengthen. And exhale to fold. Again, giving your legs a little rest after all of that strong leg work. And now bend your left knee. Place your hands inside of your left foot. Heel toe your foot over to the left. Coming into lizard lunge. Press into your hands. Drop your hips, lift your sternum, and reach your right leg long. Stretch back through all 5 toes. Inhale deeply and exhale fully. And now tuck your back toes, your right toes, lift your knee. You might walk your right hand in a little, spring your weight back, step forward, wide-legged fold at the front of your mat. So feet a little wider than your hips. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Again, inhale to lengthen. Exhale, fold. Heel toe your feet in so that your big toes touch. Bend your knees, drop your hips, lift your arms, chair pose. Inhale. Exhale, lower your arms down by your sides. Inhale, stand tall, straighten your legs, lift your arms, maybe lift your gaze, feel a little back bend. And exhale, cactus your arms out to the side, standing back bend. Legs are strong. Feel the back bend in your upper back, lifting up and back. You can always bring your hands to your hips for more support. And then come up to standing. Release your arms at your side. Mountain pose. Take a breath. Good. So those are the basic foot patterns. I'm going to give you guys a chance to ask questions. If you have any, you can type them or unmute yourself. I'm going to show you again, just visually, those few foot patterns, right? So we have this is the warrior 1 foot pattern 1, where your hips face the short edge of your mat. You can be in warrior 1. I'm going to show you all the shapes you can make with this. You can be in pyramid pose. You could be in revolved pyramid, sometimes called revolved triangle. With the hips squared, you can be in balancing pose, warrior 3. Still the same foot pattern, hip pattern. Okay, there's lots of other shapes you can take that into. So that's 1. Then we have the foot pattern 2, where your hips are open to the long side of your mat. This is warrior 2, foot pattern 2. This can turn into exalted warrior, side angle pose, triangle pose. You can balance in this shape and take it into half moon. My hips are still open to the long side of the mat. Okay, so those are just some of the shapes that pose creates. And we did this third foot pattern, the wide-legged forward fold, where your feet are parallel, your feet are wide. You can fold forward, you can twist in this shape, you can open your shoulders, you can hold your ankles or your big toes. There's lots of things you can do to adapt that posture. And then we had the fourth foot pattern, the temple pose, right? Your toes turning out to the sides, knees tracking over the toes. You can do a lot with just this one shape, side bending, twisting, that kind of thing. And then this is also the side lunge sort of shapes, okay? There's a lot you can do with those. Any questions before we continue? It doesn't seem like it. Let me know. Feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question. From there, let's see. Let's meet at the top of the mat in mountain pose. Take an inhale, lift your arms. Exhale, fold. Inhale, partway lift. Okay, so we were working the push-up pose. Either step back to plank or jump back into a push-up. And lower all the way to your belly. You can lower your knees as needed. Stretch your legs long. Interlace your hands behind your back, locust pose. Reach your hands back. Peel your chest off of the floor. Press into the tops of your feet. Strengthening through your back. You can stay here or lift your legs as well. Stretch back through all 10 toes. Exhale, lower slightly. Inhale, lift up even higher. And feel that once more. Exhale to find some ease. Inhale, lift up. And then exhale, release all the way down. Rest on your belly. You can stack your hands under your forehead. You can also rest your arms at your sides and turn your head to one side, however you're most comfortable. Maybe sway your hips to release your lower back. And now slide your hands back under your shoulders. Tuck your toes. Press back to seated on your heels. Vajrasana or thunderbolt pose. Again, so this is another one of those home-based type of postures you can come to if you need to rest. And from there, just lean to one side, swing your legs out in front of you. And take your hands behind you, separate your feet wider than your hips. Press into your hands to lift up through your chest. And lower your knees slowly to the left. You're just going to windshield wiper through the knees. Inhale to lift your knees up. And exhale to the right. Moving with your breath. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Once more, side to side. So this next time you lower your knees to the left, press all the way up to seated. So you have kind of like a pinwheel shape through your legs. And we're just going to turn to the left, come into an easy twist. Take your left hand behind you, your right hand either in front of your shin or to your opposite knee. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale to twist. Good. So you're turning your torso to the left. Keep that action, but now look over your right shoulder. This is a variation of a deeper twist called Bharat Vajrasana, but we're just kind of in the simple version today. Twisting and stretching out through the neck. Complete your exhale. And then release. Lift your knees, take your hands behind you, and just lower your knees to the right. Come up to seated. Turn your torso to the right, right hand behind you, left hand either in front of your shin or to your opposite knee. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, twist. Look over your right shoulder at first. And now keep your torso twisting in that direction as you look your gaze over your left shoulder. You're twisting in two directions. Kind of tricky. And then come back to the center. Lift your knees. Walk your feet forward. Place your hands to your shins. And now turn your toes out to the sides. Press your hands to your shins. Reach your chest forward. You're opening up through your front body. Take an inhale. And then exhale, reverse. Turn your toes in slightly, round, and stretch out your back. And with your breath, inhale, toes turn out. Pull your chest forward between your thighs and exhale, round. Stretch your back out. Once or twice more on your own. Last one. Good. From here, reach your hands forward. Make sure your toes are pointing forward and lower one vertebrae at a time to come onto your back. Walk your feet in a little closer to your hips. We'll set up for a flowing bridge pose with your arms at your side. Complete your exhale. And as you inhale, lift your hips, stretch your arms up and overhead. And exhale, lower your hips and your hands back down. Just follow your breath. You don't have to wait for me. Inhale, hips and arms rest. And wait for your exhale to lower everything down. 2 more, follow your breath. This time, as you lift up, pause, keep your hips lifted, but return your arms at your side. And interlace your hands behind your back, roll your shoulders under, bridge pose. If your shoulders are really tight and you can't clasp, hold the long edges of your mat instead. Press firmly into all 4 corners of your feet. Lift your hips just a little higher. Make sure you're breathing still. Take 1 more inhale. And exhale, release, lower your hips down. Take your arms out to the side, separate your feet wider than your hips, and again, windshield wiper your knees side to side. This time you can just move freely. You don't have to sync the movement with your breath. Loosening up your hips and your lower back. And then come back to the center. We'll set up for pigeon pose on your back, so a hip opening. Cross your right ankle above your left knee, making a figure 4 shape. Flex your right foot. This could be plenty of a stretch. For more, reach your hands forward. Your right hand reaches between your legs to clasp the back of your left thigh. Or perhaps your left shin, if you want a little more sensation. Again, keep your right foot active. You can rock a little side to side to loosen up your hips. And keeping the right foot flexed and active helps to stabilize your knee joint. Inhale deeply through your nose. Exhale through your nose. Hug your knees a little closer. And then release. Lower your right foot to the mat. Change sides. Cross left ankle above right knee. Keep your left foot flexed and active. Stay here or reach forward. Weave your left hand between your legs to clasp your right thigh or shin. Keeping your left foot flexed, you can rock a little side to side to loosen up the hips. So we'll do a lot of pigeon pose in this class, and this is the version that you can do on your back if you have like really tight hips or if you have any knee issues going on. This is going to be your pose. And take an inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. And then release. Straighten your legs, toes towards the sky, and just circle out your ankles. You can point and flex your feet and take your arms to the sides or overhead, whatever is comfortable. Okay. This might be plenty. For more of a stretch, you can start to hug your legs in, taking your hands to the backs of your legs, your calves, your ankles, folding in. And complete your exhale and release. Bend your knees, hug them in, hold the backs of your thighs and rock forward and back to come up to your seat. Come back to an easy cross-legged seat. If you are playing music with me, you can either turn it off or shift to the very last track, which is called And Then Calm by Alaskan Tape. We're going to prepare for a little meditation. This again comes from Kayla Chenae's book, Nourishing the Nervous System. And it's a meditation on the felt sense. So start by coming into a cross-legged seat. If this isn't comfortable, you can lay down, you can sit in a chair, on the edge of your bed, whatever is most comfortable for you. And like we talked about on the first day, it's helpful to elevate your hips, which helps to release tension in your lower back and your hip flexors. Okay, and so to preface this practice, you can continue to get comfortable. She says, in order to gain access to the information being offered by the living body, we must first practice experiencing and exploring our felt sense in this world. This is known as interoception and proprioception. So interoception is what you feel inside of your body, like hunger, thirst, fatigue, energy. Proprioception is your awareness of where your body is at in space. Kind of simple body awareness. The kind of lives we have lived impact our capacity to access our internal sense. Inspired by mindfulness meditation, what follows is a practice that not only invites you to lovingly acknowledge what is true about your access to your internal world, but also expand your capacity for internal tracking. Okay. So take some moments to get comfortable. Just doing whatever feels the most supportive in your body. You can soften your gaze or close down your eyes, up to you. And take a few moments to notice your breath as it is. Notice its qualities, how it flows, if it's deep or shallow, easy or challenging. You can feel it in your nose or in your belly. Let your awareness wrap itself around your breathing. Again, just noticing the quality of your breath, resisting any need to change the breath. Just notice. And when you're ready, invite your awareness to meander to the top of your head. Once there, slowly welcome your awareness to melt like warm honey down your whole body. As you send your awareness through your body, perhaps you notice what it's like in your body. Do you notice places of tension, softness, heat, comfort, ache? Arriving at the bottom of your body, gently draw your awareness back up through your body. Again, noticing the qualities of your body at rest. And complete as many cycles of this internal noticing as you'd like. And when you complete your exploration, return to noticing your breath for a few rounds. Please begin to deepen your breath. And you can start to bring some little movements back into your body, just slowly shifting your weight side to side, back, maybe gently stretching. You can blink your eyes open and then close. We'll close our practice today by resting either your hands on your thighs or connecting your palms together in front of your heart. It's returning to the initial intention of embodiment and exploring what that means for you. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes if they're not, and shift your attention back out into your day, into the room you're in. And thanks so much for being here today.